Abra, could I get you to take... You have the anchored bubble, right?
I have one.
Okay, Enthusa, could I... Oh, you're also the Hick, too, so we're going to have to wait. Okay, we'll just do that in a second. We'll just stop recording or something. Okay, from the Gidek. Alrighty, so let's go to Hick bubble mechanics now. Enthusa, if you could hop yourself on the gate.
I'm on
And
the
if you
gate.
could please link your... If you could also please link your warp disruption field generator.
Roger that.
Recently they added a Tech 2 version of this, which is fucking sexy. Hick 4 is generally the minimum skill you need for this, as you'll see that every level of Hick gives you a larger bubble / better range with your Infinite Point script. Click on the mod and you'll generally see there's a lot of stats involved with this. It's very important to note. There's a lot of penalties involved with using this thing. There's a lot of awesome benefits and a lot of drawbacks. You need to be careful with it. First of all, it uses a lot of cap without a script. 150, that's a lot. You can expect, in addition to hardeners and things like that, without any form of cap booster or power diagnostic or anything, you're going to cap out fairly quickly. You also, if you scroll down, your sig radius bonus, you actually go bigger. Enthusiast, if you could pop your bubble, please. And tell me what your sig went to. Tell me how much bigger your sig went. Should be about 50% more.
Ooh,
you're probably around 3. You're probably about 200-ish right now, and then you probably went to 300.
342. I went up to
342. So you're a bigger target. His non-propped speed is still pretty decent. He can still go full speed without his prop mod. But if you notice, the speed bonus, he gets some serious mass too, so he's harder to bump away. And also the mass reduction, also the speed bonus. So basically, if he turns his micro warp drive on, he's only gonna get 1/5 of the bonus. So maybe it's almost like he has a shitty afterburner with all the penalties involved. It's like a shitty afterburner that boosts his sig radius up to like 1500 or 1600. So yeah, it's once you put this thing up, this is a fuck you. You're not going anywhere bubble. You're staying with me until you die, I die, or both.
I go from 234 to 342. And if I put my micro warp drive on, I jump to 1900.
Yeah, Dread will pretty much volley him easily with that. It takes quite a bit of skill to use. You're noticing a 16k range. With Hick 4, you're going to get about 19-ish k, which, if you're looking at the gate itself, once he's right on top of it, will pretty much cover anybody jumping in. 3 or less, you're really talking about the Razor's Edge, and you don't want to have that. It's really pretty much Hick 4 is mandatory. Hick 5 is sexy, and then Hick 5 with T2 version will pretty much have you a 24k bubble. You can almost bubble regionals easily. It's very sexy.
I have Hick 5,
it's 50k across.
Yep, good stuff. Very good. It's worth training. It's definitely worth the train.
Yeah, I have
anyways, if you could link the script, please. Also, this is a high slot tackle thing, so you can actually point. You could also have multiple warp disruption field generators active at a time. So you could literally have one bubble and maybe 2 or 3 long points. This is the script that goes inside it. Focused warp disruption, also known as the Infinite Point script. This is the super tackling low sec mod, super tackling low sec script that makes supers basically quiver whenever they see a Hick on scan. It's a lot faster. You notice it cycles 5 times faster, so you can put that point up and down within 6 seconds, so that's pretty quick. However, you times that by the amount of cap, and you are fucking draining your cap really fast. This is something that is also attached to your ship. This bubble will go wherever the Hick goes. The long point will actually work like a long warp disruptor. It will not, despite what it says about having Infinite Point, it will not turn off. It will not turn off micro warp drives. It's basically a Jesus long point. And also, unfortunately, this does not get boosted by Claymore bonuses. Once you get towards T2 with max skills, you're looking at, I think, 32 or something like that. Somewhere in that range. Basically, a little better than an overheated point continuously.
I have a 30 kilometer.
Yeah, just about.
Yeah.
That's why you'll hear this. This is more of an intermittent thing that you'll do later as far as a super tackling class. That's more like basically asking and doing this in advance, calling for Hicks to rotate their points so they can actually get rep. The main thing that's going to get your Hick killed is committing to this fight, dropping bubbles, or using points on something and not getting repped. Dictors can be repped once they drop their probe. Hictors cannot be repped while they have this mod active. I'll say it again. Hictors cannot be repped sensor boosted, anything friendly, cap recharge, nothing like that. You can't get any friendly mods while this thing is active. It's almost treated the same as triage. So you will also get a longer range. So basically, you're going to get, instead of, whatever your bubble range is, let's say 19K with Hic 4 and a Tech 1, add 50%, 150%. You're basically looking at about, roughly a overheated point or close to it without having to heat.
Plus the ability to tackle
bubbles
supers.
work. To answer Space Ace's question, the script is the only way to tackle a super. No, it's the only way to tackle a super besides bubbles. This bubble cannot be destroyed. When you're using this in bubble form, it cannot be destroyed. You have to kill the ship to get the bubble down. Even if it's jammed, that's another bonus to this thing. Again, there's a lot of pros and cons with flying a Hic. And it's really up to the FC. That's why FC is more choicey about using Hicks versus Dicks. Because, yeah, like I said, derp. Where the fuck was I saying? Where the fuck was I?
If it's jammed, it doesn't shut the bubble down.
Right, okay, thank you. Also, there are some pros to using the script. You can, you do not, Anthusa, go ahead and light your micro warp drive with, go ahead and Infinipoint somebody and light your micro warp drive. Let's see how fast he goes. From what this thing is saying, that you will not have a sig radius penalty. So basically, you're not going to be harder to hit, harder to bump, and you're going to get full speed out of your prop mod, if I read this correctly. Go ahead and point him, and then keep an eye on. Keep an eye on his speed. Yep, he's definitely getting all of his speed. So if you need to be more of a defensive, or if you need to use some agility or something like that, the Onyx says, "Fuck you, everybody, stand right here with me." And if you're trying, I'm sorry, let me rephrase that. The bubble version is "Fuck you, stand your ground right here. I'm going down with or without you." And the script is basically a long point, and you can actually move around. But again, even with the script, you cannot receive friendly help. You cannot be repped. Correct. Very correct, Interceptor. All right, so that's the main difference there. Wherever the ship is when he drops the bubble, will basically catch people. This will travel with the ship itself, so it cannot be destroyed. Whenever he says, basically when the FC says bubble down, cycle bubble red, something like that, that basically means that this bubble is coming down soon, within the next 30 seconds, but not yet. Any questions about Hictor bubbles or Hictor tackle in general?
What does it
Again, none of these bubbles will prevent micro warp driving or anything, so you will often see Dictors and especially Hicks pair heavy tackle with it. Hicks are especially good at webbing and stuff as well, because if you're in web range, you're also inside my bubble, which means I can at least heavy tackle you in addition to that, and not have to worry about scramming you. Like a pair of webs on a devoter is boss, even in low sec and such. All right. Any other questions about Hictors in general, Hictor mechanics?
With SIG penalties being what they are, what does a Hictor gain by fitting a micro warp as opposed to an afterburner?
Mobility when it needs to be, just being able to adjust on the field. Keep in mind, if you're getting 20% of what you would get from an afterburner versus 20% of a micro warp drive, you're still talking a substantial difference between the afterburner and the micro warp drive. Maybe 100 meters a second, but still, that can make all the difference when you need it to.
Yeah, he dropped me down
It's
to
really
500.
preference and based on what you're doing first. You need to know, fitting a Hictor is a lot more specific to the mission versus a Dictor, which is pretty much okay, I can fit this and maybe adjust a tackle mod in the mid slot, and I could pretty much handle just about any job that comes my way that's related to bubbling. Versus a Hictor, which is okay, hey, am I in low sec or am I in 0-0? Am I tackling supers? Am I with multiple Dictors? Do I have Logi? What am I trying to do here? Am I doing a trap? Do I want a Sino fitted? By the way, Sinos on Hictors is extremely important, etc. Things like that. Do I want a cat boost, or do I think I can hold with what I got? All these things are questions you need to ask before you even hit on dock with a Hic.
Gav, can we demonstrate the resilience of the Hictor? If you like everybody to open fire on me.
Sure. Everybody lock up Enthusiast and line them up.
Light me up.
Hicks are heavy interdictors, and they're fucking boss tanky. Just by default, they get all of them get 25% bonuses to whatever is their tanking, shields or armor. Just to train Hicks, you automatically have the skills to do that. There are some passively tanked Onyx fits, which are pretty impressive when you're dealing with small gangs. Double or even single or double Devoter Phobos fits, double Repper, I should say.
No, I'm
He's
target
got high
painted.
resist. This is why in small skirmishes you can get away with, like, say a gang like this, you can get away with having a DPS fit and not very tanky with a Hictor, because it is also low primary in small fleets. In big fleets, it's very high primary, and you need to be pretty much max tank fit. But in skirmishes, you get away with it because everybody's focused on something else, like E-War, or the dude that's scramming you, or because everybody can just burn out of your bubble. The thing about the Hick is that unless you have heavy tackle in addition to your bubble, you can pretty much get away from them easily. So fitting DPS on a skirmish version of this is easy. Cloaks, highly recommended. Cynos, always recommended. But depending on the size of your gang will also dictate what kind of tank you're packing. You can push 300 plus DPS respectively with any shield Hick, and enjoy yourself. You can pretty much solo camp with a Hictor if you want to. Okay, any more questions? Notice this entire fleet is doing some damage to him and pretty much tanking the whole fleet with no problems. Alright, so if you want to take a break with the recording, we can probably move this up a couple systems. Guys, go ahead and jump and warp to 9GNS, jump warp 9GNS, jump warp 9GNS. Are we live? Okay, this is just a quick fact to add to. I just wanted to add this to the Hick thing, in that the Hick mod doesn't require any type of a charge or anything, so you can pretty much keep a Hick in space indefinitely. Whereas eventually you're gonna have to reload some bubbles in station. That's really all I wanted to cover. So yeah, thanks.